So thank you. I'm Jennifer. I'm here today to share a story about my past year that has brought me a lot of ups and downs. My life, in terms of where I work, where I live, and my lifestyle, are all completely different than where I was 1 year ago. I wasn't really truly able to embrace or accept my new life until up about 8 weeks ago when I welcomed my second child, a sweet baby boy, Colby, who was waking up and yeah. Um, and he joins his older sister, Avery, who's 21 months older and wiser. I wanted to share my journey today because while pregnancy and birth have their perks, for me, my second pregnancy came at a time that I wasn't ready to accept what life could look like. So thank you for listening. It was around my daughter Avery's first birthday that my husband and I decided that we would try for our second. At the same time, a lot of change started to happen, so my husband was looking for a new job and accepted a position south of the city. We lived in Windham, New Hampshire at this time, so his 2 to 3 hour commute was actually absurd, and we knew something needed to change. I pushed moving closer to the city because I already worked outside of the city, so the first big step was set into motion. We put our house on the market. We started looking for a new place and bought a condo in Medford. We found a new daycare for my daughter. And all of this was positive and exciting. And I really like change. I like to embrace change. But when it started to come more directly into my world, it became a little difficult for me to handle. With moving closer to the city, this now presented some new professional opportunities for me. I've worked in the nonprofit field the past 10 years, supporting youth with disabilities and their family members, and I'm passionate about this work. I love to help think about how we can change the system and make things better and more accessible for these individuals. So when I heard that the state had a senior level position opening up in my area of expertise, I knew that I had to explore the possibility. So when I went in for the interview, or what I thought was going to be an interview, and they were actually having a conversation with me to convince me to take this job, I was elated. I was shocked. I couldn't believe it that this type of opportunity was being presented to me, that I could work in a senior level position and help to change the system. I went home and I celebrated hard with lots of wine. And the next morning I woke up and I decided to take a pregnancy test, and holy crap, yes, I was pregnant. It was not the same feeling as it was when I found out I was pregnant with my first. In fact, I was saying, not now, please, not now. All of a sudden, I had this crazy dynamic that made me less excited about potentially taking this new job and really not excited to be pregnant at all. How could I potentially take this job? How could I tell the employer? How would they react? Would this job give me the structure and flexibility I needed? All of this was unknown, and it was so unsettling. I was sick about this, dueling experience that I was facing. Now, I know for some it might not have been a big deal. You take the job and then you tell them you're pregnant. But for me, this felt wrong. It felt deceitful. I felt like I was unlikable, not as good of a candidate because I was pregnant. The feelings and the words are hard to come by, but it was so difficult for me. I did not know what to do. At the same time, I was watching some of my closest friends who were growing their families back out of the workforce or reduce their hours. I was really dealing with sort of the cultural norms and expectations of what is a good mother and what does it mean to be a working professional woman. I was really questioning and wrestling with, could I really lean in, as Sheryl Sandberg would say, at the same time of growing my family? I have to mention that I actually was pregnant with Avery when I switched jobs before, so people think like, whoa, you're really good at this, like you must be really strong. It's like, no, this was more difficult for me. For this position, it was a senior level position. It felt like I was gonna hurt their feelings, or I don't know what the words are, as I had said, but it felt wrong. For you to truly understand also what was going on in my life with all the moving hubbub and contemplating a new job, finding out I was pregnant, my dog must have felt my stress, and her stomach turned like in Marley and Me, and we lost her way too soon. At this point in time, I remember just feeling numb, not even being able to share a smile with anybody about being pregnant. In fact, when I did talk to people about what was going on, the comments were often like, whoa, you have a lot going on, or wow, your kids are going to be so close in age, you're going to be so busy. Whatever the comments were, they never helped. They made me just question, could I do it all? Not empower me that I was making the right decisions and moving forward with both a job and pregnancy. But I moved along, not really embracing the fact that I was pregnant, or heaven forbid, thinking it was a good thing. And you know what? I did take that job. I took that job because I am a feminist, hardworking woman, and I knew that that was what I wanted. After a couple months, the dust began to settle. We were loving our new house. Avery was loved at her daycare. I did tell my employer that I was pregnant and needed to have a maternity leave, and it went over okay. But, I wasn't really connecting to the pregnancy. There was a distance and lack of connection given all that I was dealing with or really not dealing with. So as my due date of April 15th, yes, just a couple months ago, was approaching, I tried my best to prepare, but with an energetic toddler running around the house and a full-time engaging job, I could only prepare for the unknown of soon caring for a second child. I was early with Avery, so I thought I was going to be early with this baby, but sure enough, it went right up until my due date, and the quick synopsis of my birth story would just be that it was not as long as it was with my first. It was way more painful and intense. I got sent home because I wasn't dilated enough. I puked several times because the pain was awful. When I finally got back, I got pricked 3 times to get an IV in by those nurses. I tell you, it might have been worse than pushing. The epidural was a lifesaver, and yes, I am a good pusher. So both of our children were a surprise. So when we met Colby on April 14th, it was a true blessing. It meant that we had 1 boy and 1 girl. When I first saw Colby, I thought, oh my God, he looks just like Avery. And my connection to him was instantly there. These feelings from before of not knowing if I wanted a baby no longer existed. The role of a mother suddenly resonated with me like it had not before. I had 2 beautiful children and I felt whole. The other magical transformation at this time was watching Avery become a big sister, which is truly the most treasured aspect of becoming a family of 4. Her smile, the way she says, Colby, her personality, communication, and sensitivities all seemed to explode at the same time that Colby joined our family, and that's truly my favorite part about this experience. Life doesn't always hand us what we want, or certainly when we want it, but I can now say I feel more complete. And I feel proud of myself for taking the job and can only know that some of the wholeness that I feel right now is because of that decision. I'm not sure how I'll do it when I go back to work and balance it all, but as I had told myself before, I'm just going to do it. Thank you.